What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Friday Night Smackdown review, but not just any Friday Night Smackdown, the season premiere of Friday Night Smackdown. And I gotta say, for season premieres, it really didn't really feel like a season premiere. It felt like another episode, but we're gonna get into it. And I also apologize in advance if you hear some construction sounds and landscaping sounds in the background. You know how it is. Can't really do nothing about it, but bear with me. So they kicked off with John Cena on this season premiere, opening Smackdown, welcoming everybody to the season premiere of Friday Night Smackdown. But he will be interrupted by Roman Reigns, who basically comes out and tells John Cena he's going to open up his show. You better do it right. And then he, as usual, he asks everybody to acknowledge him. And then Roman would then abolish John Cena for being in his ring and having people making people say that he's the greatest of all time, and that I think he also calls John Cena a coward. And saying he's a coward because John Cena came back while he was on his little hiatus, and that John Cena could have came back while he was here, but instead he chose to. That's why he called him a coward. And then he told him that he needed to get out of his ring before they make him get out of the ring. But then John Cena said, he acknowledged that when John Cena and Roman Reigns in the rings, anything can happen. And boy, this is SmackDown, and you never know what's going to happen on SmackDown. But he said I'm going to throw you a curveball. And told Roman Reigns, I'm not here to challenge you for your title. I'm here to acknowledge you. And then he acknowledged Roman Reigns' accomplishment of holding the title for 1,000. I think it's 1,100 something days. And then he said that he's not the reason why he's not here to challenge him, because he's earned. He said despite what any announcer says, Roman Reigns has earned his that accomplishment, has earned that greatness that comes with that accomplishment. And that he said the reason why I'm not here to challenge you because I have not earned it, but he knows someone who does. LA Knight music. And LA Knight comes out and basically exchange words with Roman Reigns, telling Roman Reigns if he's have he pissed his pants yet. I like how when Roman hear LA Knight's music, Paul Heyman's the only one who goes, but Roman just who is this guy? But LA Knight basically stands up to Roman and tells him that he's a piss poor champion because he hasn't been defending the title. He hasn't even been here. But then he said, "Oh, where's my manners? Allow me to introduce myself." And then he had the crowd tell everybody whose game is it, and they said LA Knight. And Roman Reigns basically said, tells LA Knight what he's been, mouthing off, saying that, who are you and what made you think you can stand up to me and blah, blah, blah. And that LA Knight basically tells Roman that he basically is going to whip his ass. And that I think he said something about, I'm trying to remember his exact words. I think he said a response like that, I think whatever Roman had said to him, I forgot exactly what Roman said to him, but he said words like that could get you referred to in the past tense. And basically, I don't think they set it up at all, but I think it's pretty much it's gonna happen at a crown jewel, I want to say. But during LA Knight's promo, he'll be interrupted by Jimmy, who attacks him. But LA Knight will fend off Jimmy, and fend off Jimmy. Solo didn't get involved. Him and Roman got out the ring, but then Roman told Solo to get him and forget Jay, and they go forget John Cena. And go get LA Knight, and he was going to go back into the ring, but then he stopped, and then he basically challenged LA Knight to a match later on tonight, which will be set up as the main event. Then we got our first match, our first opening match, which is Pretty Deadly versus the Brawling Brutes. Now, this wasn't like the best of openings, but I'm glad to see Pretty Deadly back, wrestling, just because it's a fresh tag team back on the scene, as something other than Judgment Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, or a combination of other people. But yeah, I'm glad to see them back on there. It was a pretty decent match between the two. Nothing too stellar, nothing too crazy. And Pretty Deadly would get the win when I can't remember their name, but the blonde hair one faked like he was injured, and Ridge Holland, like the referee kept like holding Ridge Holland back so she could attend to it. But then while he was distracted by the blonde one's injury, the one with the black hair, he kicked Ridge Holland somewhat like a super kick, and then the blonde hair got Ridge Holland and rolled him up for the victory. Like I said, a decent thing, a decent opening. Maybe not the best, but it still wasn't bad. We got a backstage promo with Carito and Bobby Lashley, which is ironic. I think the last time these two was actually on the same show together was Smackdown, and Bobby Lashley even mentioned that the last time I saw you, I think I was beating you up on Smackdown, but that was the past, the order on the bridge. And Bobby Lashley, I think Carlito was being interviewed. He was being interviewed backstage about being back on SmackDown, and he says only one word I can think of to describe me being back in WWE and on SmackDown, and that's cool. But then that's when Bobby Lashley interrupts, and they had that whole conversation about the last time Carlito was on there. And then he says, "I couldn't think of nothing better though. How about my first match back on SmackDown, Carlito versus Bobby Lashley?" And Bobby Lashley said, "Me versus you. I'm not even dressed right now to compete." And it's Bobby is bagging up for a reason. And then all of a sudden the Street Profits come out of nowhere and jump Carlito. They even hit him with some chairs and stuff. And as Bobby directed traffic, telling him to stand him up, he's getting ready to try to hit Bobby with the chair, but then hit Carlito with the chair. But then Adam Pearce and security would come and break it up, and Bobby would warn Carlito not to be able to not to bite off more than he could chew, make a little slight reference to his apple, and then he throws the apple to him while you're on the ground. This would also, they will go on commercial break, come back, and while they still tending to, while the LWO and Adam Pearce and them are tending to Carlito, Bayley and Zelina Vega would get into a fight because Bayley is trying to talk to Adam Pearce about a celebration for Io Sky, and she's like, "I don't care what's going on with Carlito right now, blah blah blah. We trying to have this celebration and all this type of fun jazz." And Adam Pearce having enough of them arguing while they trying to tend to Carlito. He said, "You two want to fight." He had the referee that was back there escort them to the ring, and he put them two in the match. That would be our next match, which is Bayley versus Zelina Vega, which was a pretty good match, decent match with Zelina Vega. Wish it would have went on longer, and wish Zelina actually got the victory here, because she's been on kind of a losing streak. Haven't had a real victory in a long time. But Bayley would get the victory over Zelina Vega. Sorry, I think they was getting ready to jump Zelina Vega, and that's when Sarda came down to make the save. you guys can be in louder. Triple H would come out next for his announcement, which most people thought it was rumors was going to be about Jade Cargill, but was actually he came out to call out Adam Pearce, and he called Adam Pearce and acknowledged Adam Pearce's dedication of managing 2 different shows, and telling him that he don't have to do that no more because he's being promoted to general manager permanently for Monday Night Raw. And then, but he said that leaves Friday Night SmackDown. Before he could announce who was going to be the general manager for Friday Night SmackDown, he would get interrupted by Dominic Mysterio, who basically tried and came out to complain that Cody Rose and Jey Uso are defending the titles tonight on SmackDown I said tonight like it was still Friday. But he was complaining about them still defending the titles, and that they shouldn't have to defend the titles until Monday when it gets to Judgment Day, because I guess in a case they lose, we don't want to have to face a whole different team we wasn't prepared for type thing that Dominic was trying to get over. But Triple H poked fun at Dominic because they was booing him so mega hard, and he even got mad with it. He was like, he said, I thought they was piping those in, but they really are booing you this loud. But they tell Dominic that he's angry at the wrong people, because he just announced Adam Pearce is the general manager of Raw now, and this was a SmackDown general manager decision, and that leads me, if you want to complain to the person who's authorized this match, he introduced the new general of SmackDown, which is Nick Alvarez, aka Mickie James' husband, who was made the general manager of Friday Night SmackDown. And he even poked fun at Dominic. He said, Dominic Mysterio, I'm a big fan. He said, Dominic was feeling good about it until he said, oh, your dad. And but yes, and he also had an announcement. We finally got to know who was the trade for Jey Uso going to Raw, who was the one coming to SmackDown. And Dominic kept trying to interrupt because he didn't care, but he kept trying to say it, but then Dominic kept trying to interrupt, and he said, Dominic finally put his foot in his mouth, saying, I don't care who it is who coming to SmackDown, I'll smack them for I'll smack them and beat them up because you being disrespectful, trying to introduce them instead of handling the problem that I'm trying to present to you. And then Kevin Owens' music hits. And it turns out Kevin Owens is the man that's being traded from Raw to SmackDown, which effectively ends his partnership with Sami Zayn. I thought Sami Zayn was a SmackDown superstar, but apparently he's a Raw superstar. And guess they're going to repackage Kevin Owens as a single competitor. He was stunner Dominic Mysterio, and that'll be the end of that. And then Nick was backstage. He was having a meeting with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and I guess they was talking about how because people kept saying the tag team championships are cursed, which is meta because that's what they're referring to is what people are saying online. And he was telling them that Chelsea Green was basically trying to have an idea about them redesigning the belts with some type of different design, but then she said something about class and elegance, and he said, well, ladies, speaking of class and elegance, if you don't mind, I have Charlotte came. He actually had his true meeting was with Charlotte Flair, and they got mad and just walked away. I think she said something about him. She was going to report him because she thought he was going to be a good new management. He's still, whatever. Charlotte Flair comes in, and he tells Charlotte Flair because he's going to be doing things different. After he said something like that in the ring too, when he was out dealing with Dominic Mysterio and introducing Kevin Owens as the new trade, he said something about doing things different. And he told Charlotte Flair the same thing, that he was doing things different, and that he saw what happened at Fastlane. And in his opinion, if Charlotte Flair would, if it wasn't for damage control distracting the referee and Charlotte Flair would be standing here as the new champ. So to rectify that, next week Charlotte Flair will begin a one-on-one match against Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship. I guess after thanking Nick, she turns around into none other than Jade Cargill. I had got ahead of myself and I actually said Jade first. But yeah, Jade Cargill would show up and get into the face of Charlotte and basically introduce herself. She said, basically said, Jade Cargill, Charlotte, oh, I know who you are. And she said, well, it's my pleasure. She said, oh, it will be. And Triple H came in and tried to introduce Jade to Charlotte. She said, oh, no, I know who she is. Jade Cargill, Charlotte Flair. And she said, oh, it's a pleasure. She said, oh, it will be. It's showing that there might be a potential match between the two later on down the line. We get the next match, which is Cody Rose versus Jay. I keep saying that. Jay Uso, because I'm so used to them being on the opposite sides. Jay Uso and Cody Rose versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which I didn't know it was like they had like an open challenge, and I guess they accepted like on social media. That's how this match came to be. But for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships, this was probably one of two of the best matches of the night. This was a very good match. I wish this was probably the opening, or like this was somewhere like where to set the tone. Because by the time we got to this match, I was a little like, at this point I was like, kind of boring. She's a premiere, but they with this match it kicked it up a notch, and pretty good starting match all the way around. Cody Rose and Jey Uso really worked together, and I like the story that they tell him with Roman Reigns, how he was dealing with Jimmy in the back. I forgot to mention that it goes into this, that Jimmy is basically, I guess, really is back in the bloodline. Roman Reigns says that everything is cool with him, but that he tells Jimmy, I keep saying Jay, he tells Jimmy to quit trying to be the quarterback instead of let him do all that and run the routes and all that type of stuff, and that they focus this should be on them getting back those tag team titles, because Jay with Cody as tag team champions is an insult and a slap to the face of their family and legacy, and that leads into them into this match, where they had a pretty good match against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, but Jay and them will come out with the victory. And then the reason why I'm like kind of didn't get into it because of what happened next. They walk up the ramp and out comes Solo Sikoa and Jimmy to Roman Reigns' music, which at first they just had to stare down with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy, and then Roman would come out and Cody would turn his attention from Solo to Roman, and then they just had like a face off, and then Nick would come out and get in between them. Kenny Deister came out with Nick to get in between Jimmy, Solo, and Jay, and Nick would tell them to not tonight and not today, that we're gonna save it for another time. But they basically was trading jars with each other, trying to egg each other on to do stuff. But then when we get to the main event, which is why they came out, which is Solo Sikoa versus LA Knight, and this was a decent main event. This could have went either as the first match or the opening match or the main event, because it was pretty good. I would prefer to have been like the first match to open up the show, but of course, none of them was in their ring gear at that time. Well, yeah, none of them was in their ring gear at the time. This was a pretty good match between the two. It was a fun match. I really enjoyed it, and it was pretty good. Besides for Jimmy trying to run interference, and but John Cena this time interfered and hit Jimmy with an AA, but Solo would hit John Cena with a Samoan Spike. But then they call it what, LA Knight's BFT, something like that. He'll hit his finisher on Solo to get the victory and stand tall. Or, so you thought. Because then as he was doing his thing on the ropes, he would get down, turn around, and get speared by Roman. And Roman is the one who stands tall as they end the show. Overall, this was a pretty for a season premiere, was okay. Just because they put it as a season premiere, I had to judge it off that. And this was, I don't say it was lackluster. I'm going to give this episode of Friday Night Smackdown a 6 out of 10, just because just because it was for a season premiere. It only had a couple of good things, you know. Jay Cargill saw in the final 2 matches. The opening promo and Carlito's promo was probably like the only good things, but with that being said, stuff was slow and boring. You know, Triple H announcement was another good promo that we getting general managers again. So I don't know. Maybe, you know, this is Triple H at 100% creativity. So maybe, you know, this is a slow burn to a better days. But for a season premiere, it was lackluster. Let's hope the season premiere of Monday Night Raw is better. But that's all I got for you guys for this. If you enjoyed my review, you know, you hit this button right there for all of my season. That's my reactions thing for my WWE reviews. And if you're enjoying the video so much, you want to support the channel, you know, guys hit those buttons. And as always, hit any one of these videos for more amazing content. But don't go anywhere because I got reactions coming your way. Peace.